Hello all, it's NASCAR Jr here, and today we're going to be talking about the 2021 Buschy McBusch Race 400 from Kansas. So this race was, it was an okay race. Starting off, you had Keselowski leading about 60, 70 laps or so, and then you had Larson, who came from the back and almost, I think he either did win the first stage or he came close, but he did win the second stage. And pretty uneventful. There wasn't many cautions. The racing wasn't terrible. But then, in the final stage, um, shit kind of went downhill, to say it nicely. Specifically, the one incident with a tire sitting on pit road, and we'll show that here. So this tire on pit road, I believe it came off of the 10 car of Aric Almirola, and usually when there's a tire, NASCAR will throw a caution almost immediately afterwards. But green flag pit stops were going on at the time, and certain drivers hadn't pitted. Specifically, Chris Buescher and Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky Stenhouse came down pit road eventually, and Chris Buescher decided to stay out for good maybe 15, 20 laps. And as soon as he came down pit road, almost like 2, 3, 4 laps after that, NASCAR throws the caution for the tire that's been sitting there for about 25 laps at this point. And at this point in the race, there's about 26 laps to go, and this is effectively race manipulation.
Started his trends.
Now, I think they should have thrown a caution for it, but the time that they threw it at was incredibly stupid. Because, I mean, if the tire has been sitting there for 20 laps and you hadn't had a caution at that point, is it really a safety hazard? You should just, at that rate, you just let it go green, right? I was saying that they should just let the race go green, and they throw a caution with 25 to go, and it sets up for a bunch of restarts and a couple overtime finishes. Now, one of these restarts, there was a pretty big crash in the back of the pack that took out Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Ryan Preece, both the JTG Daughtry racing cars, who were having a decent run up until that point, and effectively, well, both the races were over after that because of too much damage, and they were the only cars to drop out of the race, I believe. Up until that point, every car on the track was still running. And the setup for another caution, and they went into overtime. And on this restart, Ryan Blaney was leading on the outside lane, and Kyle Larson was behind him on the outside lane in fourth, and he basically just pushed them into the wall.
Oh, Blaney's getting turned by Larson.
And he saves it. How about that?
But Larson's in the wall. That's it for him.
Wiped him and Blaney out. They fell back to outside of the top 15 and Blaney outside of the top 20. Kyle Busch comes out of like somewhere in the top 5. I think he was like third at the time. He passes them and he holds off a hard charging Kevin Harvick and I think Logano and wins the Buschy McBusch Race 400. Now let's take a look at the race results from the Buschy McBusch Race 400. You have Kyle Busch winning, Harvick second. Keselowski comes out, finishes third. DiBenedetto has a strong race and finishes fourth. Chase Elliott was pretty irrelevant all race. He still got top 5. He got a bunch of random drivers down here in the top 10. Good recovery from Buescher, making an 8th place finish. Forgot to talk about Hamlin here. He was up front a lot, and then he was leading ahead of Larson. He overdrove the corner, got in the wall, cut down the tire, ended up bringing out a caution, and he went down to like 22nd or something. So 12th place recovery. It's not bad. Chastain, also 14th. He had a much better race than where he finished. He was almost in the top 5 coming down to the end of it. But I think he decided to take tires in one of the last cautions and just could never get back up to the front. And then other notables, Logano and Larson. Not Logano, Larson. Well, Logano, he did have a bad race. Larson, 19th, and Blaney finishing 21st. They both had an incident coming down to the final restart that I probably already mentioned. And that's basically what you got out of the results there, at least for the top 20. So there's your top 20 results. Now, but what would have happened if they hadn't thrown that caution for the tire? Or if they had thrown it, I don't know, 20 laps earlier when Chris Buescher hadn't pitted yet? Kind of bullshit officiating calls like this. It's just ridiculous that they still do these stupid, bogus calls just to manipulate the race and get a good finish with their manufactured restarts. And I feel like the race that would have been an alright race had it just ended under green, it just turned into a shit race. And, I mean, I can't blame NASCAR for throwing the caution, because eventually the tire does become a safety issue. But they should have thrown it way earlier, like 3 laps or 4 laps at the most after that, not waited for green flag pit stops to cycle through, as that's just blatant race manipulation. You're having guys who are trying to strategize, and strategy is as much a part of a race as speed. So if they got lucky from a kind of goofy caution from a tire sitting on pit road, that's just part of the race. I don't know why we have to punish the guys for trying to strategize. But this has been a review. Probably not the most exciting review, but I'm gonna try and make more reviews like this, because I haven't really been uploading much NASCAR content on my YouTube channel, and my channel is literally called NASCAR Junk. So figured I'd put something relevant on here. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos. I do gaming and iRacing and a whole bunch of other content on my channel, trying to do more different stuff. I would appreciate it if you could watch those videos that I spend hours editing. But that's it. Have a nice day, as always. Screw NASCAR and their bogus officiating calls.